Oh, I'm sorry, I lost my agenda. Hold on.
I have started the recording for a meeting for the purposes of the city clerk's office.
Okay. So can we take roll call for quorum now?
Yes, I can run through that. Let's start with, is Georgiana on? Not yet. Vanessa.
Here.
Jim Vole.
Sorry, did you say Jim?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Thanks. Akia.
Akia here.
Anita.
Here.
Anthony.
I am here.
Jackie.
Here.
Michelle.
Here.
Roxanne. Not yet. Lene. Lars. Julie.
Here.
Andrew.
Here.
Marquita.
Here.
Leslie.
Here.
Joanne.
Here.
Michael. Doesn't look like Michael's on yet. Chavez. Not seeing Chavez either. Yolanda. All right, not yet. Lene.
Here. And with a new baby.
Oh, congratulations. Oh my goodness. And then let's see, doesn't look like Lars or Roxanne have joined yet either. Okay, so, but we do have a quorum. We can move forward.
Did we lose Vanessa?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here thus far. Let's do a quick icebreaker. Give me one word about how you feeling about the warm weather that's on its way and the snow going to be melting. One word. Let's go. Who want to go first?
I will, Tanita. I'll go
Okay,
first.
Anita.
I'm happy.
All right. Next.
This is Leslie. I'm concerned.
You concerned? Okay. What about the flooding or something?
No, I'm concerned because when it gets warm, it's going to bring people, and we have that trial going on downtown Minneapolis, and barricades and things are going up. So I'm just concerned for the well-being of the citizens that dwell in our city.
I understand that. Anybody else?
This is Jackie. I was gonna say hopeful, but following Leslie, that seems silly.
Well,
Excuse me, can I just say this? Feel hopeful that we have peace in our city.
Amen.
That's a good thing. Hopeful is good.
Amen. And we all can be hopeful in our own ways, prayerful for good outcomes, good weather, harmonious world, us coming together as one. Anybody next? I'm overjoyed, I will say, about the idea of it warming up. But as far as the trial thing, I'm just kind of being watchful and prayerful. That's what I'm being.
This is Lene,
Anybody?
because it means that spring is on the way.
Exactly. That means a new beginning. We're starting off anew, you guys. Anybody else?
I was gonna say, feeling green because I can see some green grass out peeking through the snow finally. So,
Yeah.
green zone.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. And you know what? Here, the last few years seem like when that green start within 1-2 weeks, they fully bloomed. They bloom fast. Okay. Next.
This is Michelle. I will just say I will add to the green, and I'm already thinking about doing some growing in the garden. So thinking green and loving the growth.
Thank you so much. I've been anticipating flowers, planting flowers too. Next. Anybody? Everybody. Don't everybody say something at once.
This is Julie. I'm happy. I'm happy. I went for a walk before this meeting and I dressed like it was winter, and by the time I came back, I had my hood down and my mittens off. So I'm happy.
All right, great. Anybody else?
This is Yolanda. I am grateful. I'm grateful for health, and I'm grateful for safety, and I'm grateful for spring coming.
Oh, that is so nice. Thank you so much. That's very inspiring for me. I've always said gratitude is the best attitude to take you to the aptitude that you desire to reach in life. So thank you for that. That reminded me of that saying. Next, anybody else? So I guess since nobody else wants to speak up, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the adoption of the agenda. Anybody has any changes to the agenda, want to add anything to the agenda? Speak now or forever hold your peace. If not, then can I get a motion?
Michelle. Wait. This is Michelle. Do we have announcements on the agenda, or do we have to have that specifically on there?
Announcements is down number 7.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. This is Lene.
I have a motion. I'll second, and a second. Can I have a vote, Ms. Kelly? Can you take roll call?
Yeah, is there any discussion on that?
Yeah. And no, did nobody have nothing to add or take away or change?
All right, okay. I will call roll. Yolanda? Here. Do you approve the agenda?
I do.
Perfect. Joanne?
Approve.
Leslie?
Approved.
Andrew?
Approve.
Lene?
Approve.
Roxanne? Welcome.
Yes, approved.
Okay. Michelle?
Approve.
Jackie?
Approve.
Anita?
Is that me?
Approve.
Sorry, yeah, Anita?
Approve.
Akia?
Approve.
And Vanessa?
Approved.
That motion goes forward.
Okay. So we've voted. We voted and it's approved. So it is so. The next agenda item is the acceptance of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the meeting? I'm getting some reverb on my hearing aids. Sorry. Okay, that's better. Is there any corrections to be made to February the 4th minutes? If not, then can I have a motion and a second to accept February the 4th minutes as is?
This is Joanne. I'll make a motion.
I'll make
It
a
is-
second.
There you go. Thank you. It has been motion and second. There's no discussion because we asked for that. So Ms. Kelly, can you take roll call for the vote?
Yes. Let's go in reverse. So Vanessa,
Yes.
Akia,
Yes.
Anita,
Aye.
Jackie,
Approve.
Michelle,
Yes.
Roxanne,
Did you call my name?
yeah,
Yes.
Lene,
Yes.
Andrew, sorry, Andrew,
Yes.
Okay.
Approved.
Leslie,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Yolanda.
Approve.
And that is everyone.
Okay. And we had, everybody said yes, right? So it is
Correct.
so. So the next agenda item is the election for tonight. The first discussion of the election is we have been, this last year running with a leadership team. Would you guys like to continue with a leadership team, or would you like to go to the structure of chair and co-chair? Chairs, chair and co-chair, or you just want to keep it as a leadership team? Hello? It's open for discussion. Open for discussion.
I have a question maybe to the group. Is there any drawbacks that you see from changing the current structure, or any pros and cons of one versus the other?
If I could answer, Madam Chair?
Yes, Anita.
Okay. The leadership team was a group of us, 4 of us initially. We went as a leadership team, so there was no chair, no vice chair, no particular steps, so to speak, of who's always chairing the meeting, who's always doing the agenda. It is a group of 4 of us. We meet prior to this meeting and create the agenda, have other discussions about, things for future agendas, maybe bring somebody as a speaker. It works in a group, which is nice because if you were a chair, that would be your sole responsibility. This way you can depend on your co-leaders to meet with you and have this discussion. Kelly arranges all that and keeps the minutes for us when we have the leadership. And I think it works really well because if you've ever been chair of a committee before, a group like this, that responsibility is on one person. And the co-chair might help create the agenda, but still it is the chair for facilitating the meetings. Right now, Miss Vanessa has been facilitating the meetings. She does a good job of it. You could have, with the leadership, you can decide who is going to facilitate any of the future meetings, whether you want to take turns, or in our cases, we've had Miss Vanessa do the facilitating at all the meetings. And so that's what the leadership versus a chair, co-chair is.
It actually could be the same, and there's not a chair, co-chair. It would be co-chairs instead of a chair and a co-chair. Co-chairs. The last committee I was on, we were co-chairs, so no one person was responsible for the whole meeting. You know, we kind of did it together. So I'm saying, even if we can just say the leadership committee, or we can just say co-chairs, and instead of having 4 people, it could be just, you know, it still will be 3 people, but we'll be co-chairs. So you know what I'm saying? You'll still have 3 people that will be in place to run a meeting. Just if I can't be there, then one of the other 2 will be the ones to step up and run the meeting. So what say you? Would you rather leave it the way it is set up now, or would you like to go to co-chairs?
So in my opinion, this is Michelle. I would like to have as many people involved in leadership as possible. And so, you know, finding out like how many people are interested in doing the chair position, and, you know, going from there. So I don't know how many people said that they wanted to do this, but
we'll be taking nominations as soon as we determine which way we want to go. Well, it actually be the same people, or the people that you vote to be on there. It'll still be the leadership team, but you'll just be co-chairs. That's all.
Right, but I'm saying, you know, so my answer clearly is, you know, to have more than one chair, right?
Exactly.
So
yes.
To maximize the leadership potential.
Exactly.
Right. I got a question. Can we vote on that?
Yes, that's why we're asking. That's why we're bringing it up. So
I'm just saying, because it is a good idea. That way everybody has an opportunity, you know, to know the ins and outs of how the meeting is ran and the responsibility. And it's a good way for growth and development in our team, within our team, to know and how to facilitate the meeting. So I think it's a good learning tool and a good stepping stone to growth, personal growth as well, as far as being able to work as a team to be able to facilitate the meeting and bring in different views and point of views in it. And I think that'd be a great idea.
And I think we should go back up to our 4 people. So we'll have 4 co-chairs. They can be called co-chairs or leadership team. And then that way we have a better variety of more heads involved as far as agendas, work to be done. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? And then that way 1 or 2 or a couple of people can get together and overpower and take over the meetings, but we'll all stay professional. We'll run the meetings like they're supposed to be ran, and we'll just have the right etiquette between the 4 of us. We should be able, or whoever the team be, you all should be able to work together as a team, and no one person have the power, or 2 people can have the power to overtake and run and take over the meeting.
So I like the collaborative, Yolanda. I agree with what everyone else has said. I like the collaborative process, wherein I think it's as the previous person spoke and said, you know, it's an opportunity for us to grow together as in a collaborative process, exchanging of ideas, you know, accentuating each other's strengths, and being able to have that as you say, team approach. I think team is overused sometimes, but I like the collaborative approach of us being able to iron sharpen iron. So I would like to keep it at the collaborative leadership approach.
Okay. So you said keep it the way that it is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, this is Peggy. I have a suggestion. I'm fairly new to this group, but I did participate in the Southside Green Zone a little bit, and I've been on lots of committees in my life. And I think that the collaborative approach is really good. I would suggest that you consider making one of the people a new person that's new to leadership, so that you're already always having some refreshing ideas come in rather than the same group of 4 sort of maintaining the power base of leadership.
That's what we're doing, hon. We're finna have a new election, and you're gonna elect new people tonight.
Oh, brand new people.
Nominate.
Yeah.
You're gonna nominate whoever you want to be on there. Everybody is up. It's a new slate. Start with new people. So it's who you nominate and who we vote. Depends on how many people are nominated.
Well, I would say in response to that, though, that you want to have some consistency. It's like, you know, like if you have your city council, I mean, right now we have city council that everybody's elected at the same time, but it's also good to have some institutional knowledge and some memory there. So it's good to have returning members as well as new members, in my opinion.
Actually, city council, they do odd and even. So there's always usually somebody who's been there. And then
no, the park board is odd and even. And the school board's odd and even, but city council, everybody gets elected at the same time. Yep. Trust me.
Well, it's time for everybody to get elected. So that's what's on the agenda. That's what we're trying to accomplish here. So then I need a motion saying that we keep things the way that we are with, but we'll go back to the original 4 people on the leadership committee, and they can either be called co-chairs, or we can just be the leadership committee members on it. So what say you? I need a motion and a second, please.
So move.
I'll second.
What are you're so moving that we stay the way that we are, but we're just going to go up to 4 people?
Yes.
Is that what the motion is?
Yep. The way you described it.
Okay. So we have a motion. Did someone second?
Yep, Michelle.
Okay, so it's been motion and second. We've already had the discussion. So Ms. Kelly, will you take roll call vote?
Yes. Yolanda.
Remain the same.
Sorry, I missed that. You said you approve the staying the same?
Approve staying the same, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Joanne? Sorry, Joanne?
Now I'm talking. There we go.
There you go.
Yes, I approve. Stay the way it is.
Leslie?
I'm kind of confused. So staying away, is it already a collaborative group, or is it a chair and a co-chair?
It's currently a collaborative
group.
Okay, so yes.
Andrew?
Approved to stay as collaborative group.
Lene?
Approve the way it is now.
Roxanne?
Let's make sure that you guys understand. It's staying the way that it is now, but instead of it being 3 people on there like it is now, it'll be the 4 people. Do everybody understand that? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roxanne. Michelle?
Yes.
Jackie?
Approve.
Anita?
Aye. Did you say Anita or Akita?
Akia.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Nope, I did say you, but then the next person is Akia.
Okay.
Akia, yes.
Thank you. Vanessa?
Yes. Yes.
Did I miss anyone? Okay, so then that is all in favor of the motion to keep it as a collaborative committee of 4 people.
Okay.
It is so. The next thing we want to do now is open the floor for nominations.
Okay, I will
You can
be.
nominate yourself too. You
Yeah.
can nominate yourself.
Okay, I'll be running the nominations. We have 4 positions open. Anybody can nominate themselves. We'll take nominations first, and I'll be writing your names down. You can nominate yourself or somebody else. I'll be writing the names down, and then we'll ask if we have more than 4, we'll ask people to talk a little bit about why they would like to become one of the co-leaders. If we have less, we'll still have that discussion because it's good for everybody to know, but we'll move automatically to approve the slate if there are less than 4. Or there are four or less, right, Kelly? 4 or less.
Correct.
Okay. But if there are 4 more than 4, then we'll have each individual vote. Does everybody understand that? Okay. I'm going to open the nominations. The floor open for nominations. Are there any nominations?
I have my hand up, and then Michelle has her hand up.
Okay.
I received 2 nominations by email, and one was for Leslie Jackson, and the other one was for Yolanda Adams Lee.
Okay. What's Yolanda's last name? I'm sorry.
Adams Lee.
Adams Lee. Okay. Michelle?
I was going to nominate Leslie, so we're good to go.
Okay. Any other nominations? Come on, don't be afraid. This is an opportunity to work with others on the committee.
This is Leslie. This is Leslie.
Continue. Sorry, Leslie.
Go ahead, Leslie.
I'd like to nominate Michelle as well as Andrew.
So this is Michelle. I already told Kelly I don't have the capacity right now, but in the future, I definitely would like to.
I'd like to nominate Andrew.
Andrew. Do you accept the nomination, Andrew?
I accept. Thank you.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Leslie.
She already been nominated.
Oh,
Leslie
I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
Leslie's already nominated.
Then Jackie.
Jackie, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah, I'll accept.
Okay.
And if you don't have anybody else new out, you can put my name back in the pot, Vanessa.
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Evelyn.
What's that name again?
Evelyn J.
Oh, that's Julia. She's she works with the city as a Vista, so not on the task force.
She looked new.
She is new.
Sorry.
Any other nominations? Okay, I have 2 more calls. Any other nominations? Last call. Are there any other nominations?
Yeah, I got one. Anthony Taylor.
Anthony, do you accept the nomination?
That was real sweet, and I appreciate that. But I'm a city employee, so I cannot.
Last call. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I declare nominations are closed. We have 5 candidates So we will have, how long do we usually give Kelly for each candidate to speak?
2
We don't
minutes.
have a specific set amount. Sorry, was that Georgiana?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a set amount, but like 2 to 3 minutes max.
Yeah, why don't we give, can you set your clock 2 minutes for the candidates?
Yep.
And we'll start with our first candidate. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be one of the co-leaders. Leslie Jackson.
Oh, wow. I didn't mean to go first. Okay, so my name is Leslie Jackson. Okay, I graduated from the University of Minnesota, and my field of study was environmental science, policy, and management. My concentration there was soil. I can relate to the mission of the Northern Green Zone and the belief of helping everybody on the north side. And I believe in connecting the dots. It's not just the north side that would be helping, it's just the whole city itself and the interconnections that they have. Is somebody eating? I'm sorry. So I believe that, being able to be effective communicator and cross cultures is very important. And growing up and born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I'm able to walk amongst the many people in the diverse community that we have, and respect everybody as human beings as I see them. I identified as American Aborigine. My grandmother is Native and heritage from slavery on the Native tribe of the Tears of the Trail. So I identify as Native and respect the Native traditional ways of the land and as a stewardship. Not only have I graduated from the University of Minnesota, my prior education took me to Chicago, being an idiot, thinking I was going to get married, but that's another story. So there I volunteered work with the prairies out with the Field Museum, studied environmental science at Chicago State University, where I was the president and maintained the 5 acres of prairie which was trying to be destroyed, got it registered with the wildlife, so it's a protective entity in that community. I believe in justice for all. I do not see color or
Leslie?
judge people. So I guess my 2 minutes is up, but
yes,
thank you for the time.
Thank you, Leslie. Next, we're going to ask Yolanda. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Yolanda Adams. I am one of the original Green Zone committee members, transitioned from essential city, doing the survey and working with the original members of the city and the community. I have a master's degree in addictive counseling, a master's degree in professional counseling, and a master's degree in special education. I've been a community member, an advocate ever since I was, 4 or 5 years old, with my grandmother, who was an advocate, ardent advocate for social justice. I was referred to this committee originally because I was a Minneapolis Public Health Committee member, and I'm very concerned and involved about health disparities within populations of color. I grew up on Cherokee Reservation in Oklahoma, and then the rest of our time we moved to Compton, California. The health disparities in both sides of my community have been egregious, and the Green Zone has given the opportunity to work with both professional and private or personal within the community, with our children, with our elders, looking at ways that we can be viable and utilizing healthy and thoughtful ways of living and helping those within the community. The reason I want to continue in the leadership process is I find it very humbling and rewarding to be able to share that information in all facets of my life, in personal and professional. And it is very engaging and it's helpful and educational. So that's the reason I would like to continue to be a part of the leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Yolanda. Andrew.
Hey guys, I think I'll probably keep it pretty short and sweet. But the reason I joined the Northside or applied for a position with this council is I'm a resident of Marshall Terrace, and we purchased in 2017, so a homeowner in the neighborhood, and very interested in getting involved with the air I breathe, the air my neighbors breathe, and building a community that has power and has a say in what's going on in their neighborhood and in their community. So some of the things about me, I grew up in Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota my whole life, and I love a lot of the great things that our state has to offer as far as, you know, clean air and water, and I think that should be spread out across the entire city. So it's something that I think brings our communities together and our neighborhoods together in a way that interests me and I think is positive. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Andrew. Jackie.
Hey y'all, I'm Jackie. I'm originally from Idaho, from the middle of nowhere, Idaho. And then I moved to the Bay Area, California for school. And I worked on several environmental justice projects while I was out there. I was in the environmental engineering program. And now I'm in the environmental engineering program or PhD program at the U. I work on algae blooms, so putting together mathematical models to figure out when these blooms will or won't occur. But I'm really interested in the green zone because I'm really interested in environmental justice and I like to ask questions. So if that's something that you guys want on the leadership board, then I am, no, who said that? Lene?
Mm-hmm.
How funny. Sorry, Lene is also from the middle of nowhere, Idaho. You don't see a lot of that. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. I would like to be on the leadership board just to get to know what's going on in the community more and then be able to spread that sort of information to my own community here. Oh, and I live in Marshall Terrace.
Okay, thank you. And Vanessa.
Hi, everybody. I'll start out saying that I'm a community person, oriented person. I started out in church as a little girl. My mom used to say I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders because when I see injustices and all the stuff that happens on TV, it made me feel like I needed to do something. But it wasn't until 2016, 17 that my eyes became open to environmental justice. And I was a founding member of the Environmental Justice Coordinating Council. I've served for Heritage Park Neighborhood Association from 2012 up into 2018 when I moved away from there. I'm a member. I sit on the board at Twin City Gospel Choir, which I've been with them probably about a year, a little over a year and a half. I have an associate's degree in computer aided design and drafting. I have a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary learning. I also have my second semester in my master's in special education. I'm a licensed school teacher as well as a licensed cosmetologist. So, and I've served on this committee, a year going on 2 years maybe. This is my second term. And I love facilitating the meetings. I love working with other people. I'm a team member. And I also believe in being professional, respecting one another, loving everybody for who they are, how they are, and where they are. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa.
All right.
Yeah. Kelly, do we have the voting function for Zoom?
No, we don't have a special voting function. So one thing that we can do, and also with the online meetings, we have to do voice votes for everything.
Okay.
So we'll have to go candidate by candidate and say approve or not. So I think what we'll have to do is everyone prepare yourselves now on the 4 of the 5 candidates that you would like to approve, and then we'll call for each candidate.
Okay. Once again, the candidates are Leslie Jackson, Yolanda Adams, Andrew Larson, Jackie Taylor, Vanessa Willis. And if you have any questions of any of the candidates, now is the time to ask them before we vote. If you have anything.
Before you guys vote, I had only put my name in if you did not get 4 people. How do you guys feel? Do you want someone that's already been on there to be there to help with the new people that's coming on, or do you guys feel that you 4 new people can do it on your own? I mean, that you don't need that. And if you don't need that, then I don't have to be in the vote.
Okay.
Vanessa, I'm not new. I've been on here.
Well, I know you're not new, baby. We know you and I have been on this committee from the very beginning, sweetheart.
Yeah.
So that would be good. 2 older members and 2 new members. That would be good too. But
yeah, but just so that all the candidates know, Kelly and Julie have been very helpful. Kelly keeps, like I said, organizes the meetings, sets it all up through Zoom. Kelly keeps track of what's been on the agenda and what we've talked about. You can look back at the minutes for any help with that. And also, if you would like new candidates, Kelly can ask the past leaders to be part of the next meeting so that we can get everybody all up to speed and so they can understand of how the meetings, the agenda creating meeting goes and those discussions.
Can I say something? This is Leslie.
Sure.
My thing, and maybe I'm wrong, I was looking forward to working with Roxanne and some of the former leaders to help and guide me through this journey and to teach me their skills in their leadership. So what I see in the community from the Green Zones leaders that they have past and present, I feel that it's a great honor to walk in their footsteps and to learn from them and for them to guide and teach us as new members so we can carry on their legacy and the greatness that they bestowed upon the city. And that's what I was looking for as a member. Even if I don't get voted, I still would like to work with them to work on leadership skills to help their legacy. So that's how I feel about it. And I don't know about the other candidates, but that's what I was looking forward to.
I feel the same way as Leslie. I would rather take a seat back and have 2 of the long-standing members be there to guide the new leadership group.
Okay. As one of the I would say former leaders, I'm not running because I believe 2 things. One thing is that I don't have time right now. I'm running into a lot of conflict of, being a co-leader on this because I've been working with a group with the MPD and we're moving forward on some of these issues throughout the city. And the other thing is I like the idea of new people taking over and new ideas and new perspectives. I can't speak for Roxanne, but I haven't heard her say that she was interested in continuing on as a leader. Roxanne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I think this will be my last Green Zone meeting. I think I've been doing Green Zone work since 2013. So I think I am happy that other people are stepping up. And I think that you all will do just fine.
Yeah. And
I'm also available like by email, if anybody wanted to talk to me. But I think I'm going to be lowering my my responsibilities.
yeah. Vanessa, would you like to say anything?
I said what I had to say.
Okay. All right.
I have a question. Hello.
Sure. Who is this?
This is Michael Cheney.
Mike.
Michael, I didn't
How many?
recognize your voice.
How many people that are running actually live on the north side?
I think everybody here is northeast or north, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I asked the question. How many of you that
I live
are
over
on
north. This is Leslie, 37th and Emerson. Okay, I'm in the hood.
Okay.
Oh, I think maybe Michael, you might be the only one over south.
Right. So again, how many can people answer for themselves? How many live either north or northeast that are? And the reason I asked that is I think it's important that we have people from, to Leslie's, from the hood who can help guide and inform and keep the work relevant.
Mm-hmm.
If you are inquiring, I live in North Minneapolis, Brooklyn Center now. Before coming here, I lived at Heritage Park from 2011 up into 2018. And then after serving there, I got booted out to Brooklyn Center because this was the only place that I could find an apartment. But however, my son has a church in North Minneapolis. I also attend his church. I attend High Praise Ministry in North Minneapolis, and I work in the school district over in Northeast.
As for myself, I've lived in North Minneapolis. I was actually born in North Minneapolis. I've been here my entire life. And if you want to know the history of North Minneapolis, you can ask me, but I will be available to any new leaders still on the, coming to the meetings, being available, like Roxanne said, whether you want to call, invite me to any of the leadership meetings, and I'll be happy to oblige for anything historical. Like Roxanne said, she'll make herself available. I'm sure Miss Vanessa will make herself available to answer any questions too. So.
Yep.
So we have Miss Vanessa. Are you staying on? Then we have 5 candidates. We have Leslie Jackson, Yolanda Adams, Andrew Larson, Jackie Taylor, Vanessa Willis. Does anybody have any questions?
Amend it that we can have 5 instead of 4?
I think we passed that. We
with
voted.
that. Okay.
Well, wait a minute. I was kind of confused because Vanessa, I'm pretty sure that's her name. She said she was only throwing her hat in the ring if we didn't have a bunch of new members. And then, okay, then we had our 4. She made 5. And then I guess she doesn't want to step down because then it was like, well, let's change it to have 2 and 2, 2 new and 2 old. So I'm very confused, but I'll just lay on back and just pointing that out because I don't know either she wanted to step down because there's all four, and we do have somebody that can guide us, and I'm looking for leadership to lead me in the right direction with all you people. So I was just confused because she said she was throwing her hat in because we didn't have enough, and now new members, so I don't know if she's gonna pull out or want to stay in. So you're changing it from 4 to 5 to 3 to 4, and I'm just saying we need to have consistency and stay on the same page because things keep changing and the time's ticking because we have things that we need to review and keep it moving. You know, so we can make this another election time next meeting if everybody's getting on that till we get a clear thing, so we can keep the meeting going because time's going. You know, I know we have people coming, gotta go and things like that. I'm just saying. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Leslie. My understanding is, just to reiterate, we have 5 candidates for 4 positions. So we'll be voting for 4 positions, for 4 people.
Can you guys hear me? I
Yes.
guess so I'm gonna take myself out, and then those 4 folks can take the leadership, and then that way Vanessa can be there to help and guide, and the rest of us that are staying, it just makes it a lot cleaner, as Leslie said. And so I'm just going to remove myself from the voting, okay?
Okay.
You a member, you still get to vote. So, I mean, you never did the leadership. I can step down. Just take me out. Take me out. Take me out and make it easier.
Yolanda? Or
everybody quits.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody.
I can. Well, I only got in there because
Talk about a Northside thing.
Someone who has already been doing this shit of us 3 should still be on there. That's all I was saying. But I don't have to be on the leadership team. Trust me. I don't have to.
You were asking a question?
Okay. So either Vanessa or Yolanda. One of you is dropping out.
I am dropping out, and Vanessa's staying in.
Okay. So we have 4 candidates. So we're just going to vote on the 4 candidate slate, which is.
Why are we voting if we have the candidates that are running?
Because we have to. I think it's because
you have to give a verbal vote.
Yeah, we have to do a vote. It's just a vote of the slate, Michael. It's
accepting everybody.
Yeah. It's something. It's like paperwork. Has to be done. So the candidates are Leslie Jackson, Andrew Larson, Jackie Taylor, Vanessa Willis. Kelly's going to call the roll. Aye or nay? Kelly?
Is there any final discussion before I call a roll?
Do you need a second on the on that particular slate?
No.
Okay. Are you offering a second, Lene?
Oh, I was, but I don't know my Robert's rules very well.
Okay. Well, we'll take it anyway, just for the record.
Take it anyway. You really don't need it, but take it anyway, Kelly.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I will call the roll. All right. So Yolanda.
Yes.
Michael.
Why not?
Can you clarify that is an affirmative?
Sure. That's a affirmado.
Thank you, Michael. Joanne.
Yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
Lene.
Yes.
Roxanne.
Abstain.
Michelle.
She said she didn't feel comfortable voting publicly.
Okay. So we'll count that is absent. Jackie.
She send that to you by, isn't there like an inbox or something on here?
Yeah, no, I see the chat, but for the formal voice vote. Oh, can't get her mic plugged in. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get back to you. So Jackie.
Yes.
Anita.
Yes.
Akia.
Yes.
And Vanessa.
Yay.
Did I miss anyone? Did I miss any of our voting members?
Georgiana.
Hey, Georgiana. I was wondering if that was you who had joined. What is your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. And Michelle, are you able to have audio again?
Yes, it would help if I plugged in my mic and not my computer cord. So, yes.
Okay.
All right, so your vote is yes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so that motion carries with all in the affirmative and one abstention.
Okay. Congratulations to the 4 new co-leaders, Leslie Jackson, Andrew Larson, Jackie Taylor, and Vanessa Willis. Congratulations.
Amen.
And thank you to our outgoing leadership.
Yeah, very much.
Like I said, Kelly, if you would like to invite us to the next meeting, then we can help with some continuity.
I'd be happy to.
Okay. Vanessa, I'm going to hand the meeting back to you to finish out.
Thank you, darling.
Thank
the next
you.
agenda item, thank you, love. And yeah, thank you. The next agenda item is discussion number 5, the Upper Harbor Terminal Alternative Urban Area-Wide Review, the UAR scoping order, and the staff will be doing that. So we'll turn that over to you for number 1, the Upper Harbor Terminal thing, and number 2, the Upper Harbor scoping document.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Julie, I'm hoping you can pull up the document that you've been working on. Julia has spent time going through the scoping document for the Upper Harbor Terminal Environmental Review. Basically, now that the Upper Harbor Terminal has a fairly concrete plan for how they're going to move forward, they are now doing what's called an alternative urban area-wide review, which is a form of environmental review that looks at the whole development all at once rather than individual buildings. And so what has been proposed is the scoping document, which outlines all of the different information that is going to be pulled together in this environmental review document. And so there is a comment period right now where community members can say, yes, we like all the things that you're going to research, or here are some additional ideas, or we don't like this, including that, or things like that. So we thought tonight we could go through kind of at a high level what the different things are that are being proposed to be researched in this environmental review. And if there's anything that you all feel is missing that you want to add, or that you want to take out, or that you want to expand on, we can collect those comments and you can submit them as a body to the city for their consideration. Are there any questions on just the high level before Julia walks us through the details? Yep, go ahead, Leslie.
Are we going to have a time frame that we can review this and then submit our questions? Like, would you set a format up that we can put our concerns and then maybe edit it? Maybe we might all have the same, but then be able to submit it as a group as a whole, you know? like on a document?
Yes, so we've kind of generated a draft like letter template basically. And so what we were going to do tonight is collect everyone's ideas in that. And if folks felt comfortable, you could vote on that tonight as here are all the ideas or changes that we have. And you could just vote on that tonight. Or if you're not ready yet and you want additional time to look through the scoping document or to look at the Upper Harbor Terminal Plan or anything like that, we can have a vote another time. But we would probably have to call a special vote because I think the comment period ends before our next meeting.
Kelly, I have some comments ready.
All right. Hold on one second, Georgiana. Julia, are you able to share your screen? And
sure, yeah. Give me one moment.
I have a question. Is this their environmental report? Or is
yes,
this is their findings. Okay.
Not the findings. This is what they're proposing to
the ARA
research.
report.
Yeah, AUAR. It's Alternative Urban Area-Wide Review. I don't know why they call it that, but
that's just a way that they just do it based on a total area. It's basically a general form as the EAW, where the EAW to me is a little bit more detailed, and this one just kind of does a general scope of the area. So I mean, so they have the soil table, the water table, the population and things, and the movement. It's not as detailed to say what they're going to do with the contaminants and how is it going to really affect us, where it's just a big general of just the area. So I'll let you just go on. That's just the difference.
Thanks, Leslie. Awesome. So Julie, can you zoom in a little bit so the document takes the full width of the screen there?
Can try.
I think there's a little there. Okay, perfect.
Is this better or?
Yeah, no, that looks great. Okay, so Georgiana, did you want to share your ideas first and then we can walk through all these items, or do you want us to walk through the items and then we'll collect everyone's feedback?
I'm just on my cell phone, so I can't see anybody's screens, but being that I'm the environmental rep on the Above the Falls Community Advisory Committee, we have had this discussion around this issue already.
Oh, great. Okay.
And I have some comments to make in that we have a out of the 50-some acres, we have very little green space along the river. We have one of our city council members has advocated for a lot of housing on the site. There is manufacturing on the site, even though it could be green manufacturing. 10,000 seat amphitheater is taking up a lot of space, and there's a whole issue of transportation and the noise and the dust, and then there's all the people who are living in the housing, and all that would go into the Mississippi River. And what if there's a flood? People's basements would get flooded. And then, of course, there's the bird flyaway, a national flyaway on the Mississippi River. Those are just some of the ideas so far.
Okay, great. Yeah, and then just as a clarification, this environmental review is looking at what has been proposed. So it's looking at the environmental impact of those, the manufacturing, the housing, the amphitheater, and the as you mentioned, is limited, but the amount of green space that is proposed for the site. So in this, it would not, what we're collecting tonight in terms of feedback isn't necessarily on changing the proposal, but it's what's the environmental impact of what they're proposing. That's what the AUAR will look at.
I tried addressing it as it stands right now.
Yeah, okay.
So, Kelly, I have a question. This is Michelle. So, we can't look at this as far as what they are missing and what the impacts could be on, for example, housing, like testing the air, that kind of thing.
Well, why don't we go through the sections, and that it might make it more clear.
Okay.
So for those who are on Teams, and we'll try to make this as clear for those who are on the phone as possible. You should see the document in front of you. That's a summary of what is in this scoping document. So again, this is the proposed analysis. There has not been analysis yet. This is what they're proposing to collect information. Julia, do you feel comfortable walking through it?
Sure. For people, since there are people on the phone who can't see, do we want to have me or you or someone read through all of them, or just go through the sort of the categories?
Yeah, if you want to go through the categories, I think that would be good. And maybe if there's a summary of what will be included.
Sure. Okay. We can do this together.
Totally throwing her on the spot. So.
It's all right. Okay, yes. So I went through the AUAR and basically pulled out, or the scoping document, I mean, and basically pulled out the things that they say that they're going to look at in a number of different categories. So the categories are land use, which has to do with like zoning. There's geology and soils. There's a lot about water, including stormwater, drinking water, sort of wastewater, runoff, things like that. There's hazardous materials and contamination. There is a section on ecological resources, which has to do with Mississippi, wildlife, and biodiversity. There is a section on historic properties in the surrounding neighborhood, visual, like aesthetic impact, which includes the views down the Mississippi and lighting. Then there's a section on air, so a lot about air pollution, dust, vehicle emissions. There's a section on noise, which includes construction noise, and then just like amphitheater traffic noise around the project if it's completed. And there's a section on transportation. They talk about cumulative impacts, focusing mostly on 3 different projects that are also happening in the area. And then they have sort of a catch-all other category. So what Kelly and I did was we went through this list and noted where we thought there might be potential gaps based on the Northside Green Zone work plan and the joint development criteria, which has been discussed recently. So, yeah, so I guess, do we want to?
I have a question if we can take one. This is Andrew. Just curious, the categories here, I mean, obviously it's going through all these different things they're going to measure. Is there or maybe a quick synopsis on how those are what tests are being run to measure those things? I mean, I get that they're saying they're going to measure this, but is there more information on the specific analysis or collecting method, something like that?
It kind of depends. So in the scoping document for some, this is just a pretty brief list, as you can tell. For some of those tests, they do specify more of what they're going to look at. And for some of them, they just say, we will, identify issues related to water infiltration and like solutions. So Some of the analysis is a little bit vague on what exactly they'll do, and then some of it is more specific. But you'd have to, I don't know off the top of my head, you'd have to go to the scoping document to find those.
I have a question. Was that sent to us to look at, what you have?
No, what I have was not, but I can, we can have that. Maybe I can drop it in the chat, or Kelly can.
Or could you have Kelly email it to us?
Sure.
And
yeah.
What's the deadline on this review?
Kelly, do you know that one?
I'm looking for it.
And is it already?
Is it March 16th?
It might be, Georgiana. I'm gonna check the website real quick.
Comment.
That sounds right.
I want to make a
I have a scoping document in front of me.
I have that too, the one that Kelly provided. But my whole thing, and it's not just this project, but any project and any opening is soil related. And they talk about the water here. And as the young lady who opened with this presentation, I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, but she pointed out that, there's no room for green coverage close to the river. So that means we're going to have erosion along that whole frontage of the river. And that means more soil waste into the river and into the community. And it might, they say this and that, but it's going to be a big impact. And yes, I am a thing about the soil because of the contaminants that are over there along that area. And once that soil breaks and it gets dusty, that soil is going into our lungs, people. And so that's what, a part of asthma and health that we're about. And so I always keep talking about the soil management when they talk about storm water, but it goes hand in hand. And then at the same time, we still only have 4 inspectors. So I keep on harping about inspectors and the management of the soil. And that's 2 big important things that we have to look at as restructuring this and moving forward in our communities to stop some of the madness that's going on in our cities, so that's just what I notice. If we're going to make comments on this thing right now, because that's what I look at is the impact of the environment, the housing and all that is, okay, that's another thing for me, but I'm looking at just the management of the land and the water and the air. Thank you.
So this is Michelle. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, when I was asking my vague question earlier, I was referring to GAF, so whether it be under air or cumulative impacts, or both, having that is really important. And, we have a study that was done by Botno, looking at northern metals and GAF and using the health impacts that it caused. And there are other things that I'm not aware of that we can put in there too. That would be great, but to have housing right there and GAF emitting those, fumes, it just is not right.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. And as Julia has summarized here with a bullet, it says GAF facility to the south is permitted and compliant and will not be evaluated. So it sounds like a comment specifically related to the impact of GAF should be evaluated as part of this environmental review.
Yeah, I second that with what Michelle says, because it makes no sense, because GAF they're grandfathered in, so they don't have a permit review. So how can one be compliant with the permit that's never reviewed? I mean, I think that just is a red flag for me, that GAF is not considered a part of this environmental review when it's directly next door. And I just feel like maybe we should have some sort of investigation with the city and its relationship to GAF, as well as to the developers, because there was a meeting between GAF and the developers, which was private, and their lobbyist, I believe, was also a part of that meeting, but I just heard that their lobbyist just is no longer their lobbyist as of maybe about a month and a half ago. But I just feel like there's something funny about that. And so I think we need to bring that up. Also, there's nothing about people on here. There's nothing about socioeconomic impact. And people are very much a part of the environment. So I don't see why they're not acknowledging how the development of this or how the economic benefits or, you know, the economic downfalls of what this could do to our community.
Now I see you typing on there right above that sentence where you were doing the GAF. They're talking about dust control. You can't have dust control without soil management. So if we could put that in there. See, it says discuss soil control ordinance and best practices. There's no management of all about that, and that's something new. So they word things kind of funky. Thank you.
Say this is Peggy. You know, this thing, it's not GAF is the only industry that has been grandfathered in or whatever that doesn't have to have a regular permit review. But Few Lee, one of the state reps for Minnesota, has a bill that's going through the process of making it mandatory that those are inspected every 5 years. I don't know if they have enough inspectors to do the work, but it's in the works and it'll probably pass the House. I don't know if it will pass the Senate or not, but it does have a companion in the Senate. So it's something that people could use to try to motivate their legislators to be able to get that particular item remediated.
Yeah, a lot of us, well, I know I can speak for myself, have already been out there testifying and working with Fuli on that. Matter of fact, it's based on a lot of our concerns that we've brought to the city and to FU. So that is fine, but like we need to do more than just pass policy. Plus, we don't have the Senate, so it's probably not going to pass. But it's definitely like more of a conversation starter, and it's something that we need to hold the city accountable to.
We have 4 inspectors. Okay, only 4.
Julia, do we want to go down to the section that you pulled out from the development criteria?
Sure. Yeah. So this was just a little section that I pulled from the joint green zone development criteria on what proposals should include to be, you know, a good opportunity for development. So we have a section on environmental impact, which talks about soil, water, air quality, pollinator habitat, and then clean and efficient energy. There is something about transportation impact, and then we have sort of social impact, which encompasses health, equity, economics and wealth building, gentrification, and green careers. Kelly, was there something specific you wanted to talk about with that, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this forward to just kind of recall folks, for those who've been part of the Northside Green Zone for a couple of years now. You know, we've had these conversations, and you've generated a lot of really great ideas of what could be included in environmental review for projects that are being developed in the green zones. So rather than, you know, having to come up with a whole bunch of things fresh, I wanted to make sure that this was also in front of you, to see, you know, is there any additional detail that you would want to add to these for this specific project? Do you want to just sort of like take this and put it in a comment letter and say, you know, Northside Green Zone has already considered these are the things that we would like to be analyzed in an environmental review for a project in the green zone, plus some of the other specific comments that we've already captured notes on?
Kelly, I like what you just said in the last 3 or 4 sentences. I think Green Zone should make a comment And I think those ideas that you just stated are important.
Kelly, I have a question for the group. Does everybody know what a EIS is and an EAW, and this proposal right here is what they're putting up in front of us, and the difference and what criteria that are met and the form that is filled out? Is everybody familiar with that? So then they get a better idea and understanding exactly what we're looking at besides what their findings or what they propose to do. That's a question.
So you mean the different kinds of environmental review?
Well, but one that's kind of like filled out, and see, like the environmental reviews have certain criteria that's met. And that's what I was saying the difference is. And so like they're proposing this is what they're going to do. Like they try to slip in there. They got dust control. That's soil management. But they're not saying what they're going to do with the waste and how much they foresee it. That's why I said this is generalized. And that's what I was saying as far as the differences of these forms. And are people familiar with these forms so they get a better understanding what to really look for and to judge when while dissecting this information. So they have something besides what you guys have beautifully constructive to do a comparison, but do a comparison to an actual form itself.
This is Michelle. I have some experience with an environmental impact statement with line 3, but I don't have much as far as the AUAR at all.
I'm in the same, oh, this is Jackie. I'm in the same boat as Michelle. I've never seen a UAUR, a UAR, or whatever.
So that's why I'm saying it's kind of important that we have a form in front of us with the understanding of exactly what is broken down. And let me say something to you. This is why we work as a team, and everybody can share and put inputs and knowledge so we don't stay ignorant to the fact of what's been happening to us. And I hate the fact that they think that the north side is contaminated or Northeast has this and that. Being born and raised here, in Minneapolis, I don't see, like I said, color, but we got to stay educated. And so if we could get those forms up so we can look at it and get the language of what this really details would be very helpful for all of us, not just this project, but future projects.
To clarify, Leslie, are you asking that we show the scoping document in its entirety rather than this summary right now?
Well, that way they can see where everything fits in these boxes. I mean, the summary is cool, but like the forms and how they're filled out and what goes in there and what Minnesota criteria is, and that, so it's not just a bunch of sugarcoating a summary which goes with it, but then the actual form itself. So if myself and Roxanne and Jackie and Andrew decide to go do the site, we have that form and we can walk down that site and look at these different things so we know what's going on as to do our own inspection, because Minneapolis only has 4 inspectors. And I've been seeing and asking people that's just doing minor work, has an inspector came, they said, no, but we got a permit. And I know once the land is open, the inspector's supposed to be there during the opening and the closing and somewhere in the middle, but not with 4 of them. And a detailed project like this is good since we're on it and we want to learn how to read these documents and policies, is to be able to do a hands-on experience exactly what details to look for in projects like this and the management of the land. Because like Jackie and Michelle and probably others haven't spoken, they don't know what the form looks like. And if that's not what your field of study is, you're not going to know. And that's where our education comes from learning from each other. And it's only about growing in strength and educating ourselves that we're going to be even more successful to live on a legacy of our four predecessors in this group. That's all I'm saying.
So, yeah, and Jackie just put up a good point that the scoping document is not the same as the AUR, right?
Yeah, the scoping document is saying like this is what the city is proposing to look for. So the AUAR is just the acronym for the study, for the environmental study. And the scoping document is saying these are the things that are going to be included in that study. And you can comment on what should be included to influence what is in that final report.
Well, one of the things that I'd like to have included in there, and I don't know, I can't see it, but what is going to be the impact on the blue herons that are there or any other wildlife with this development? So, what is the impact to the ecosystem that currently exists?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. There is a section on ecological resources, so we'll add that comment there.
Before we get too far away from where you just left, for those people who are new and for those people who are experienced veterans here, I just want to let people know that the green zone was supposed to be a part of this, I don't know the correct words here. So the original plan included the green zone. Like, green zone was supposed to be a part of the decision making the entire time. And unless that happened last year when I wasn't able to come to a lot of the meetings, I don't believe that happened. And so, we can send a letter and say, these are some of the things that we think are important, but it's just really frustrating to me still that the Northern Green Zone was supposed to be included in this and was not. And that was brought up at the CPC meetings.
I agree, Michelle. It wasn't. And a lot of us worked really hard to push them, the city, the developers, to take acknowledgement of that, but they just kind of skipped right through it.
I, on occasion, addressed the committee with environmental justice issues. I also brought them the questions and the asking for the date of meeting, like you guys asked me to. So I did. It was brought up at the meeting. They did say at one time that they were referring to the environmental justice values and the things that was already
the principles that we came up with in the beginning.
Right. That they looked at those things. Yeah, that they didn't necessarily have to have a meeting with you guys. But I did more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times bring that up or try to make that happen. I asked the question.
Is it possible that we can write a letter or work on a letter about our approval or disapproval of like what is happening without the green zone principles involved, or is there any interest in that? I'd be down.
I have interest.
I have interest.
I have interest.
Let's do a vote.
Well, I just want to say folks from the community had to fist fight even to bring this review to the process. This was already going to be, they were going to fastball it through. So it was only because of the dissent and the growing dissent and the opposition from leadership in the community, residents in the community, that this is even already slowed down the locomotive already. Otherwise, they were going to steamroll even the review through. So again, I would bring that to the attention that They totally sidestepped community residents, community leadership, environmental input, you know, and now they come to have us rubber stamp, you know, and be complicit in the criminal behavior on the heart of leadership of this community.
And
No,
you know what?
I think we brought this, we're bringing this, actually. They didn't ask us to, again, they didn't ask us for our input at all. We're doing this on our own.
That's my point.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Roxanne, can I ask a clarifying question? Were you proposing to write a letter on what's proposed for the Upper Harbor Terminal project, like specifically on, you know, what the proposed land uses and all of that? Or were you saying writing a letter on the environmental review?
I think it could all be included. I think the green zones could just write a letter of maybe even just asking for a meeting with city council members to come to come to the meetings, because I think what they've done is they have basically squashed any opposition to the project, to the development, and any concerns whatsoever. They've went around it, and it's caused some divide in our community. It's also caused some issues. Like, I think as a community person, I shouldn't have to choose between my business and my community. Like, it should work for all of us. It shouldn't be like a either or thing. And I feel like I had to sacrifice my professional. I had to sacrifice a lot of things that I and other young people could have benefited from financially, but I had to go against that in order to be for my community. And I don't think that that's fair. I think that that's an issue when millionaires and billionaires come to our community and start throwing around dollars to everybody, you know, and they're creating this diversion. Like, I think that I have my own concerns, and I'm sure the group has their own concerns. Like, everybody has their own concerns, and I'm sure we can make a letter out of it and also add in the environmental review, how we had to literally tell the city, you're about to break the law by not doing this first before you vote. And that was a lot. That was a lot on us. Like, why would we have to tell government officials to not break the law?
Can I say this? I think a letter should go out, but with the concerns, but to let them know that we were excluded from the decision making and that we are a big part of the Northside, and what our mission is, that we have to look out for the community. And, you know, how dare you, but in a nicer tone, how being rejected from a major decision, when after all the work is done, then here we are helping making decisions and making sure that things are up to code with regulations and stuff, because of the lack of that and what we do as a community. You know, so we're looking out for our community, and this is going to cause another impact in health with just the movement of the soil itself. And to be excluded in something that's major, especially on the north side, is just it's
and within a green zone. Like,
thank you, because I don't want to cuss.
It's within a green zone. It makes no sense for the green zones to be passed when in decision making for a major development within a green zone. Come on now, that makes no sense.
So this is Julie. Can I make a suggestion that if there is going to be a meeting, that it be a joint meeting of the collaborative planning committee as well as the council members that you want at the table? And I say that because there are Northsiders who put 1.5 years of their life into this work without compensation on that CPC. And Miss Vanessa is one of them. And I think it is unfair to say that there were not Northside voices at the table. However,
that group has a ton of influence over this process. So I don't think that, first of all, I think it would be unfair to exclude them, but furthermore, you probably get more traction if you actually bring that group together, and you want the council or the legislative body to act in a certain way, because you'll have more voices from the north side.
I have a question. Is the EJCC a representative of the Northside Green Zone? And because I know that they had a part in that Upper Harbor Lights. So I know they're two different entities, but is that our representation for the North Side is the EJCC, even though I'm a member there? That's just a question.
They were part of convening the learning tables, but I'm referring to the collaborative planning committee that was an appointed board, just as this one is, of people that a lot of you probably know a lot of those folks. And so, and the learning tables was supposed to be a 4-session deal. It was supposed to be 4 learning tables. There were 20. So,
what's your point?
My point is,
I'm open to it.
My point is, don't minimize the voices of Northsiders who put all that time in and try to push them to the side and just go talk to the council members, because y'all know you ain't gonna get the result you want just from the council. You've got to have community, more voices. Many voices make more change. So I would.
Well, there hasn't been any response to the community voices to date. So why should we expect from the very onset there was a flawed process? I'm
not going to debate.
Well, I'm going to debate it, Julie. I'm going to debate it. How's that then?
I'm saying simply that it shouldn't be.
Okay, let's keep order.
That we
need. And this
order.
is why I like millionaires.
Just as
look how millionaires be having us fight. Look how millionaires be having us all divided like that. And I would just say I think that it's a great idea that we can have a bigger conversation with more people who are involved with this. I will also say that there were plenty of people who were involved with this before that committee and didn't also just did it just because. I mean, I think that also one of the biggest things, the issues that I have is that committee was tasked to pass it. They were not tasked to have an actual decision, like a what they wanted to do. The things that they asked for were brilliant things that our communities deserve. We deserve it whether the development comes or not. We deserve those things that we're asking for from the CPAC, but they're asking for things that we all would want for our community. But the only problem is that they make us feel like we can't have it unless we got white rich people spending all their money. And it's not even their money. Like, I don't even want to get into that part, but I will say that my last thing, y'all, is I was in the room when the mayor chose some people to be on that committee, and he specifically said he didn't want to put people on that committee who were against it. So it was already from the jump set up.
And
I agree.
And that's why I said we need to write this letter. And I was trying to ask neighbors. I'm just trying to ask, what is the deadline on this? And let's get this letter written as soon as possible.
So clarification on.
Let's invite CPAC and the city council. I agree.
They got lawyers now, so are they going to sit at the table too?
No, they don't have lawyers. I have lawyers.
No,
we have lawyers. They have city. The city has lawyers, but
I'm saying the people with the in the meeting.
No, the CPC doesn't have meetings. It's just a resident body, just like this is. But the city has lawyers. The city has lawyers.
That's not what I was saying, but anyway, okay. That's not what I was talking about.
Order. Can I jump in right here? So the CPAPs have talked to lawyers. The city do have lawyers, but outside of the city lawyers, we encountered lawyers, have had meetings with lawyers because we were trying to get certain wording in the contract and certain things. When we first came in there, we were told certain things were fixed or were set. We couldn't change certain things. But we have been fighting to change the wordings, to add different ethnic races, ADOS, as they've been calling. They're trying to get ADOS, which is American descendants of slaves, wording added to it. You see, those type of things are the type of things that it kind of took a change and went toward, reparations, as you want to call it. And so that's kind of the things that we were working on when we were going through each step of the matrix, adding that type of stuff in for the community agreements and that type of stuff. We have been trying to fight for things, and we do have lawyers, that were willing. The James and them were willing to pay on the behalf of the CPAP's committee. But now from the beginning, I've been looking at the way the committee was, the makeup of the committee. I have been kind of quiet watching the politics of the committee. I have been kind of quiet watching and feeling the way things were going. In the beginning, it was hard because we weren't given a lot to work with or what we were supposed to be doing and saying. So in the beginning, it was more pulling out information. What can't we do? What things can we speak on? So we've been through that whole process, you guys. It wasn't that we was in that room being yes people. I've been attacked and told that I was a yes person, but I have never been a yes person. I have been fighting for things that in generations to come would be beneficial for the community. I've been fighting for the community to be overseers of the properties, overseers of the programs, overseers of the lands, the leasings. So we've been asking the questions and been in there. I went in there with no knowledge of nothing. I've learned a lot of things. I still got some things that I'm learning, but it's been 2 long years, and I was kind of getting tired of this work. So I'm kind of excited for the little break that we're having. But we're at the point now, the CPAP committee is only going to be called back again on the very things that we need to oversee or look or make decisions on. They're not going to vote on this. This thing has been put to where it's not going to be voted on by the council no time this year at all. Since they got that letter from the environmental justice requesting that they get the study done, they can't take a vote on it if the study isn't done. So that's where
there will be a vote in August, correct, Kelly?
No. From the last committee meeting I had, they said it would not be a vote. They're just looking at the stuff. They can't do a vote. They're not doing a vote right now. Is what I understand.
They can vote after the review. Right, they can vote after the review. That was the law. The law is you cannot vote until after the review is completed. And let me just say, I know Julie has been on the green zones with me since probably around 2014 or 2013. And I just want to say, we put in a lot of work too to not only get the ordinance passed, to start the group that was South and North that first came together. And then now on, the North group, and I've been on EJCC. I actually was voted on to be on the CPAC and dropped off. Yep. And then I am also on the CMEJ, the ones who we intervened. We were the ones who told us that we felt like they needed to hold off and really rethink what they're doing. And so now we have this opportunity to have, of course they want to keep going. Everybody wants to keep going. Everybody's tired. Everybody is tired of this fight. But I will just say, I felt hella disrespected by millionaires coming in here and stirring all this shit up. Like, I just feel like it's not fair because it caused a lot of divide. And really, I'm gonna just keep it real. They offered a lot of carrots to people everywhere. They offered a lot. The Polad family has been basically sending a lot of money out to make sure that they get what they want. And that is a red flag to me Because I just
Right.
heard this is green zone. It was supposed to be for housing, for green industry, and like, where is it?
Can I say this? Jump in. Okay, so we're kind of everybody. Thank you, Vanessa, Roxanne, for everything that you guys been doing to fight this. But because the topic was writing a letter because we were excluded and showing
Well,
them
I'm
our.
going to stop you right. It's not that we were simply excluded. It's the fact that we are the Green Zone Task Force, and so we would be derelict in our duty if we did not address this from an environmental perspective. That's the point.
Absolutely. The letter is, and Roxanne wants to invite these people in. We only have a week, okay? So today is what? And next week, so we got a week to get this letter on the weekend, compile it, send it off so they'll have it on their desk because time's ticking. We can debate who's right and wrong, but it's still an exclusion that the green zone was not included. They had the tables, they had the CPAC and all these other people, and CPAC could have still invited us. But nobody took the time to invite the Northside Green Zone. And Roxanne made a good point stating the letter and then our concerns. So we need to compile this letter ASP. Now I'm free on the week.
We weren't invited because they didn't tell CPAC anything about the history of like the fight. You know what I mean? Like it started out. They didn't tell them about green zones.
I'm available this weekend. I don't know anybody else's schedule, but Monday I'm back at work at nights, but I'm still available during the day. And I feel that this letter needs to go out so we can at least try to get it to them the latest by Monday before this proposal has to go in or their thing. And then if somebody could please put that AR form and an EA form so we can all see that. If you could do that for us, Kelly, so we could see the differences and be able to study that. But Roxanne, you popped this off and you're very well eloquent in your speech, and I can imagine how you write. I'd be willing to work with you to get this letter composed, and maybe we can just set up something for concerns and then get the letter so we can bring this to the table in the front so we can have our input besides just.
I don't want to use my language. I think we're best if we keep Kelly to write it because Kelly got the government language and she understands. Like,
yeah,
you know
I'm saying compose it. We can give it to her for editing and things. So if Kelly, I know she has to be included, but I'm just saying between us, because that's automatic with Kelly. If you guys are open this weekend, that we can compile it and we can get it out and we can take a vote on that. If not, then I'll just shut up.
No, I'm down. I'm the one who said it, so I'm down. I'm down to help anytime.
We have to do our vote.
Work on it too.
I'm gonna call order again, and I'm gonna ask if you want to speak that you actually be recognized by one of the leaders, me or Miss Anita or Miss Kelly, so that we can stay in order, decent and in order. And we're at now 6:54 p.m. You guys.
Simon says, may I speak?
Yes, you may.
My hand is
Okay. Anyway, as I want to just reiterate, we would be derelict in our duty not to address it, whether or not it's accepted or not. You know, I applaud Michelle Shaw and all of those other environmental groups who courageously, the Upper Harbor group, the folks on the far north who came out in opposition. So there is history of inclusion, yet exclusion. And I think we need to verbalize that and, but also identify what are some of the environmental red flags that we see in this document, and certainly some of those that are excluded, and what are some of the consequences of this approach and a response to that as well.
Michelle?
Thanks, Miss Vanessa. So, do we need to do a vote and say, for example, Michelle, Leslie, and Roxanne, you please put together letter and we accept the letter or something like that?
This is Kelly. I'm not sure that everyone would necessarily feel comfortable approving something that they haven't read yet. So
Exactly.
the best practice would be
Right.
we would call it a special meeting before March 18th, which is when comments are due for the environmental review. So I think that's a Thursday, I just looked at it. So if we wanted to meet like that Tuesday evening, if Tuesdays seem to be good for folks, we could try to have an abbreviated meeting, 30 minutes if we could move quick enough, where as long as we had quorum, we could review the letter and then vote.
But I think we need to have some. I think we need to be able to see the letter, respond to the letter, add to the letter if there's some points that we see need to be amplified.
I agree with you, Michael.
So how about next week?
Isn't that what Kelly said for Tuesday? If everybody's game for Tuesday?
And that's fine with me.
Today the 2nd.
Wait, so this is Michelle. So couldn't we send everything out prior to the 16th and get everybody's feedback prior to the 16th? And the 16th is the final vote.
Yeah, if that works for folks, like if a group of you are gonna meet this weekend to draft it and you put it in like a Google Doc or something that others could look at and make edits to, then, that could happen online before the 16th. I see Jackie is not available the 16th. Is there anyone else who would not be available? We want to make sure that we'd be able to make quorum that night.
So Kelly, what date are you using?
So the date that the comments are due is March 18th. So I'm just proposing that we meet earlier that week to vote on the final letter language. And I propose.
And you
Tuesday
want to
the
meet
16th.
on Tuesday the 16th? I could not meet that. I already have 2 meetings.
Okay. Is there another day that
I
week
could
that
meet
would
on
work?
Monday. Monday would work better. The 15th.
I can do Monday.
What time are we talking about? Are we talking about 5 o'clock?
We could do 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever works best for folks.
Yeah, I can't do 6 o'clock.
Okay, but you could do 5. Does anyone else have conflicts on Monday, the 15th of March? All right, not hearing any. So we'll shoot for that. I will schedule the special meeting and send you all the information for that. For the folks who are going to be meeting to start drafting the letter, let me know if you want me to join you, if you have any questions. We've sent out the link for the scoping document to review, but we'll send that again. We'll also send just the summary that Julia had put together with some of the notes that we took tonight in a nice clean format, so you can build off of the discussion that we've already had. And if there's anything else, you can just let us know what would be helpful.
I think you should also include some of the environmental reviews of the project and the process that have come out of some of the already existing environmental oversight teams that might lend some construct and context for some of the folks that might be new to the history of this struggle. And it would also, I think that we should actually reach out to some of those other environmental entities out of community respect to engage them, invite them, encourage them to make their own assessments. Because if we had to struggle so hard to get in the room, what about those other environmental representatives in some of these other environmental bodies? I think we need to pay them due respect as well.
Hey, real quick, y'all, I just got an emergency call. I'm going to get it off. A woman in our community, Lisa Clemens, says her 11-year-old daughter got off the bus and somebody has kidnapped her. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but keep your ears out for an 11-year-old girl who's missing from a well-respected community activist and ex-police officer named Lisa Clemens. So I got to go.
Oh, no.
For the letter, y'all. Okay? Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Kelly, can you connect Michelle and Roxanne and myself in an email so we can all connect together by this weekend?
Yep, and Lene also offered to help write the letter, so I'll include her as well.
Okay, cool beans.
Michael, if you have specific organizations that you're referring to, that would be helpful. I know that Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy is looking at this document as well, and they might have some specific thoughts on what's missing.
And Friends of the Mississippi River.
And the group that Michelle was a part of, that environmental group from the city, and then there was
the Park Board group.
Yeah. That I just think that it's incumbent on us to inform and invite other environmental watchdog organizations to the table so that we can be best informed and with integrity, that we are engaging and inviting other concerned citizens in the realm of environmental stewardship, that we're informing them, inviting them, asking for some of their response in whatever form or fashion, and that doesn't necessarily need to be tied to our efforts or impede our efforts, but that we're not just addressing this from a unilateral perspective.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Michelle, you still have your hand raised?
Oh, sorry. I just have a couple of announcements before we leave.
Okay, are we done with, are we done here, done there? Let me see, where's the agenda? Where you go, agenda? Okay. So, the next, we can move on to the next agenda item now, right?
Yes. I also wonder if folks are available to stay longer, because we are at 7:04, so we might need to adjourn.
Well, we have the discussion on agenda for the green zone and the southern north and south green zone meeting, and then after that is announcements. So next is discussion on agenda for joint green zone meeting, April the 6th.
I can share.
Does anyone have ideas for it? Yeah, let's share what they have.
All right, so for those who are on Teams, you should be able to see this. So the ideas that they came up with, we asked them prompt questions like, what do you want to know about the Northside Green Zone? What do you want the Northside Green Zone to know about the Southside? What are specific areas you want to collaborate on? And are there any presentations to have during this joint meeting? So they're interested in knowing, like, what are the things that Northside is working on? So kind of plain and simple. They're interested in cumulative impact analysis. What are ways to collaborate on pushing forward, some sort of request? The Southside is requesting that in the environmental review for the Roof Depot project. Obviously, we've been talking about that for the Upper Harbor Terminal environmental review. In terms of what does the Southside want the Northside to know? Again, kind of what they've been dealing with the Roof Depot project. They kind of weren't sure what to propose because they didn't know how much the Northside knew about the Southside work. So we could just kind of pick specific areas to share about. In terms of areas of collaboration, maybe doing an update on the joint development criteria and what that working group has decided for their process. Comparing the work plans to find areas of overlap. Are there any similar goals around community participation in program design? And then going together for requests to City Council because there's power in numbers. And then in terms of a presentation, Cassandra Holmes, who has been working very actively as part of the East Phillips Neighborhood Institute and is a resident of Little Earth on the Roof Depot, promoting the community's vision for what's happening at the Roof Depot. She has a presentation that she's given to the City Council on cumulative impact analysis that she would be willing to give at the joint meeting. So those were the ideas they came up with.
Those are some valid points. I'm glad that I participated in that conversation. What it brought up for me, and what this conversation this evening has brought up for me, is are there ways and means that we can get more active input from residents of North and Northeast? What kind of communication tools can we create so that we can have a green agenda that is community-led, community-fed? Do a State of the Green summit. I think that, again, in order for us to be viable and really responsive to our community, I think that we need to market the Northside Green Zone more. We need to inform residents about what we're doing. We might create a green survey of environmental concerns. What are some of the green zone hotspots? In terms of so that we have the voice of the community, that we're speaking on behalf, and that we have eyes and ears on the ground who are fueling our process. And so it's one thing to be able, residents from the community can come to us, but how can we come to the people?
I think they'd be very interested in that conversation.
Michelle, I have a recommended planner's request, I guess, and that would be if we're going to do any kind of any kind of introduction, could we do like breakout rooms? Last time it took almost half the meeting to do introductions, so maybe we could do 10 minutes in a breakout room to introduce ourselves and get to know people a little bit better.
Yep, we can do that for sure. Are there any items on this list that you're not interested in discussing at our next joint meeting that you maybe want to put off for a future meeting? Or are there any items missing beyond the ones that you've already mentioned?
I think that there should be an assessment of the impact of the green zone work. I mean, we should grade our successes, grade our failures, evaluate our work, and just kind of get a sense of where we are in space and time. Are we relevant? what can we do to make ourselves more relevant?
And who are we being held accountable by? I mean, maybe asking that question.
Maybe we can work on creating a green zone report card, environmental report card, that really looks at some of these projects and some of this process and gives us since the city's so good at checking boxes, maybe we have to do some box checking ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And it would be good feedback for me as well, or for like city staff within the sustainability office, because we had put together a little one-pager kind of on the accomplishments of the green zones, both the Northside and Southside in the last year. We haven't had time to go over that as a group and to say, like, is this what we would want included as we're telling our story? So I think it could be kind of a both and, like, a conversation kind of around evaluation and accomplishments that could then generate more of like a marketing piece that can be shared with community members.
And as tonight we've reviewed the environmental impact. What about what about with the health department doing a resident environmental impact? Leslie brought up good points about asthma and soil degradation, and those are some things that most people may or may not be cognizant of. But again, they are on the ground. I hear over and over again from people who are living up near GAF, that everybody's saying it's safe, but I'm not feeling so good because of it. And I think that we need to listen to the residents rather than listen to the bureaucracy, and even tell that story around GAF. What are people's stories about the health impacts and the environmental as a result of the environmental consequences thereof from GAF? And we conduct our own survey. We do our own market research. We talk to the people. Since the developers won't talk to the environmental groups, then let us make sure that we don't replicate their behavior, but that we go directly to the residents in that community and get some kind of, response, reaction, and make that something that's available to the city, the inspectors, and that we are, the environmental watchdog on behalf of the residents suffering from health consequences.
Well, Michael, we've been taking notes on all the ideas that you've raised, which might be a little too much to fit into one meeting. But I think a good place to start is sort of around some of that initial sharing, the questions that maybe if you as individuals have specific questions that you have for the Southside Green Zone, we could share those and kind of have some dialogue at the beginning around the kind of what you were talking before, like the accomplishments, the evaluative piece, like how do we know, who are we accountable, and like how do we know whether we've been successful or what has the successes been, and then maybe going into what you're talking about around the community engagement piece. So whether that is a survey or a summit or market research or collecting health information, or all the above that that could be part of kind of like one big conversation. I think that would be a good opportunity also to use breakout rooms so that everybody gets a chance to kind of brainstorm and have their voices heard. We can collect all of that, all those ideas, and then come back together as a large group. How does that sound to folks?
That sounds good. So,
Yeah, it does.
Kelly, you know how we had certain people that volunteered to be on different areas of the committee, different subcommittees of this committee?
Yeah.
So why don't we do that? See who's interested on being on what part in our as well as in the South, and maybe collectively those committees from the South of members from the subcommittee members can jointly work on things together on the subcommittee members of ours. So we need to get established that could be one thing we can do, and then we can establish having breakout for each category, each subcommittee. We can have that be the title of each room. So if you want to be in water and soil and land, go there. If you want to be in healing, go there. If you want to be in housing, one room will be housing. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that might help us collectively work together in the different subcommittees to get the work done.
Great idea.
So those could be
idea.
some things. Those could be some things we could, talk about. And we can take whatever we can, even after tonight, people they still submit ideas to you, Miss Kelly, and then we before the meeting when we come together as a leadership team, we can pick up those which ones we want to present on that day. Not saying that we won't get to all of the items in our list, but it can be existing list that we can each time we're going to meet, pull from the first three. Let's tackle the next two, or the most important of those, and pull from those and work our way down each the North and the South items and conquer them.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So with that being said, can we move? Can we have anybody got anything other than now that they want to add for that? Let's send it to Kelly. Then Kelly, you can present it to us, the leadership, and we can choose when we're setting up the agenda items, which ones we should present to represent us. Sounds good, everybody?
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're at 7:18. I would like to move to the next item on the agenda, which would be where am I at?
I think it's just
announcements, upcoming meetings, number 7, upcoming meetings.
Michelle has her hand up.
Yes, Michelle.
Thank you. So I have two things. One is for those of you who were at the presentation when I came to follow up on edible boulevards, we talked about fruit trees and the status of the park board not allowing fruit trees to be planted on the boulevards. One of the park board commissioners has asked that I bring a few people in support of that possibility of having fruit trees growing on the boulevards. And so tomorrow night, that is happening during open time at the park board meeting. So
at what time?
So 5:30 is when open meeting time starts. 5 o'clock is the time when the meeting starts. So I'll be there at 5 o'clock. And if you're interested in speaking, you do need to fill out a form for that. And hopefully this form that I am sending you right now is the correct one for that. So I put that in the chat, and Michael, I sent it to you in an email. So you have to fill that out by noon tomorrow. And then also, if you want to just send in a comment, you can also do that, and you have to fill that in by noon tomorrow. So if there's anybody out there who would be in support of that, it'd be greatly appreciated. Just kind of.
Is that a Zoom meeting or in-person meeting?
It's a phone meeting.
It's a what?
A Well, we have to call in, so I don't quite understand it. If anyone's been to a park board meeting, can you tell me how that works? Is that a Zoom meeting or a Google Meets?
It's probably, yeah, it's probably Microsoft Teams, but I think they have, the way that they run those is like an event rather than like a group meeting like this. So there's more control and fewer participants. And so, yeah, I think you're right that public members who are going to speak will be given a special call-in number once they register.
So, thank you. That's number one. And then number two is Kelly sent something, or one of the two of us sent something out after the last meeting about the Minnesota Environmental Policy Act and the fact that we can send comments on the draft for implementing or integrating climate concerns into that. They changed their deadline on getting those written submissions or written feedback to the end of March. So if you did not submit feedback yet, you have until March 31st. So I have sent that information to Kelly at the beginning of this meeting. So, and she also will have this link that I just put in the chat as well. So thank you, everybody. Those are my two announcements, Ms. Vanessa.
Okay.
I have an announcement.
Okay.
I want to send to Kelly to send out to all the Green Zone members. They've been working for about the last 2 months with a group of folks on the Philandro Castillo Omnibus Bill. It is at the House File 874 and Senate File 100. And one of the things that I'm excited about is it's very diverse. It's addressing entrepreneurship, green enterprise, actually asking for $10 million toward urban farming and for land acquisition for those African Americans who want to acquire farmland. So it really matches up with the work that Tina Smith, Senator Tina Smith, Senator Cory Booker, and Senator Elizabeth Warren have authored a Black Justice farm bill on the federal level. That this House File 874 really is wedded well to that, so that we're trying to move the needle on ownership of land by African Americans on the national level as well as on the state level. So there is a process. I want to send it to Kelly so that she can send it out to the Green Zone Task Force so that folks can call their representative and they can verbalize their support. It's like I said, it's very multifaceted, mental health and equal opportunity enforcement. And so I would urge everyone on the Green Zone to look at it and to support this effort.
We're at 7:24. Any more announcements? Ms. Kelly, you got announcements, Green Zone meetings, announcements, next meeting times and stuff?
Yep, that was mostly just listed there as reminders. So our next meeting is the joint meeting with the Southside Green Zone. Following that, our May meeting is on May 4th. We've already got a couple topics potentially teed up related to thinking about climate change in terms of preparing for our spring and summer weather. And then the park board has some updates on some of their work at Upper Harbor Terminal.
Okay. Any questions?
Amen.
About any questions about any of the announcements? No? Okay, it's 7:25. We've got 5 minutes left. We can adjourn now, or you can give me one word, just one word of how you're feeling, or just one word.
Green zone.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. And with that, anyone else? Okay, with that, then this meeting is officially adjourned.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.